for our XLA. Padres got a little too confident after game 3, and their bats fell silent afterwards. A little too much celebrating too soon brought them bad karma.
Well, good pitching beats good hitting, and that was good pitching. I was shocked that the Padres got shut out 24 innings in a row. And it wasn't that they had a pile of guys on base and were hitting in double plays. I mean, they just didn't get guys on the pads, and they couldn't drive them home, and they banged into double plays along the way. Overconfident, maybe, because they had beaten the Dodgers, 8 times during the regular season, and then they had 2 more wins. I mean, so they were 10-6 against LA at that point, and then look what happened. But instead of just bashing on the Padres, let's give credit to what the Dodgers did creatively with the use of the pitching staff, etc. And the big bats came through. Big bats surely did come back through. And I never, ever want to hear Manny Machado ever echo the word to those of us in the working media, check the back of my baseball card.
This whole thing about, were they overconfident and all that, the Peacock, the dancing Peacock stuff. I love all that. I mean, to me, this is what makes sports entertaining.
You're big on French pastry.
I mean, Profar robbing the home run and kind of jumping around. And Tatis, he was swinging his balls around in right field. But if you want to talk about bad karma, the Dodgers fans were throwing stuff in the field and trying to hit Profar. And even Roberts admitted that his whole anti-Manny Machado thing was a ruse just to get the focus off of his guys. Now, granted, it worked. It was a brilliant move. But like I said, I think Machado handled himself very well during that. And you can make an argument against Profar and Tatis. I get that. But I thought Machado was a pro, was mature, was a leader throughout that whole series. And for Dave Roberts to suddenly pick a fight with him, to me, that was a disgrace. But the karma went against the Padres, not against the Dodgers. And here we are.
So you're saluting Machado hitting 179.
No, but I like his leadership. I like the meeting in the dugout. I like him standing up for his guys. But yeah, they just got beat. And I'm still trying to process it.
Am I the only one on the planet that thinks the Dylan Cease move will haunt them forever? Because this was the year. This was the opportunity to construct this roster. That's why A.J. Preller spent the resources he did to do it. And your team, I swear to you, John, a year from today, we're doing this podcast. The team next year is not going to be the team this year. They've already got salary issues that they're going to deal with that I don't think they can solve. There is a research piece out that says if the Padres were to bring back everybody, including the arbitration eligible guys and the pay bumps guys are going to get, their payroll would be $231 million, and they can't afford that.
Yeah.
And the theory is that the ownership, which has made a big profit this year, is going to want to take this payroll even farther down from the 161 of this year. So this is not going to be the same team next year that we just had. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and they were so close, and they got shut out 24 innings in a row. It just drives me crazy because your team next year is definitely not going to be the team you had this year.
But next year's team might be better. I mean, this year's team was better than last year's team.
Sure.
So, once in a lifetime, there's always a new season. The Dylan Cease criticism is classic Monday morning quarterback here.
Nothing wrong. 2020 rearview mirror. Did you win?
No, we didn't win.
You didn't get out of the freaking second inning.
But if they had rolled out Martin Perez, it's very likely that he would have had a similar result.
But he had a 2.69 ERA and it starts in San Diego. That's better than asking a guy who just threw 82 pitches and got lit up to come back 3 days later as a power pitcher and try to be better.
But he's a journeyman. You're not sure what to expect from the guy.
You could always turn it into a bullpen day.
You could, but in the end, the Padres didn't score any runs, so it doesn't matter. This is all a moot point.
Okay. Thank you for the input, RXL. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, let's go to Greg. He goes, Lee and John, my idea for an 18-game NFL season is for a 1-week break for every team mid-season and up the active roster to 60. This could reduce injuries and allow players to rehab longer.
I think the rest and the recovery is a huge part of the negotiating chip. I'm led to believe that this 18-game schedule is going to be forged. It's going to get done, and the union is going to ask for a bunch of things. And I think the union's going to ask for a bigger active roster on game day, which means full salary. The guys on developmental earn this. But if we go from a 53-man active roster to, say, 58, that's 58 full salaried guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also going to ask for bigger developmental squads, which means more money. So, I mean, the union's not giving these guys, the league, an 18-game schedule unless they get a wide variety of things in the collective bargaining agreement. And that also obviously includes one less preseason game and maybe even more changes as it relates to OTAs, practices, days and pads, etc. But I do think, I would say next fall, it's probably going to be an 18-game schedule. But the owners are going to have to give the Players Association a whole bunch of financial considerations.
So let's say that they do go to an 18-game schedule. Does the NFL get to renegotiate their media rights packages with all the big networks?
No, I don't believe so, because I think the ask that they got, we want X number of dollars from you, CBS, NBC, Fox, etc. I think that contained the ideology that in all likelihood we're going to expand the schedule even more. So I don't think there's more coming.
Oh, so it's sort of baked in.
Now, if there had been a change, like there's going to be more playoff teams, which means more TV games, that would lead to a reopening of how the postseason television contracts are structured.
Okay, that makes sense.
Very good. Thanks, Greg. Next question.
Okay, next question. Let's go to Roy. Hacksaw, I told you our pitching has been in shambles all season, yet best record in baseball. You still asking who pitches Friday for the Dodgers? Padre fans can't settle for, quote, at least we made the playoffs.
Well, you did. And people are just barking at me from across the street and at the fitness center and all that about my stance. But you go back to mid-season, and the Dodgers had only one pitcher in their rotation from opening day. And they had raided Oklahoma City, and all those kids came up, and most all of them got hurt. The latest is Michael Grove, who's just had surgery. He won 10 or 11 games for them this season. He's gone for all of next year. I mean, this was what was going on at midseason. Dodgers were looking for volunteers on the right field pavilion. Can you pitch? Have any eligibility left? So that, and the Dodgers' top-heavy batting order, and the bottom of the batting order, I swear to you, from the 5th through 9th spots at one point, we're hitting 118 to 223, the bottom half of the batting order. So those are the things in June and July that were the topics on the table because that's what we were reviewing. And now we're talking about 33 straight shutout innings from a Dodger staff that's hot and healthy. So to say, hey, shut your bleeping mouth, you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I was talking about in June and July is that we observed what was happening, and I know where we are right now.
This is just so awesome. This is why we love sports. And this just makes it so fun. Now, while you're gone, while you were up in the upper Adirondacks there, enjoying your beautiful vacation, well-deserved, I'm here. I'm kind of editing a lot of those short videos that we post. And so I'm watching the social media response all throughout the week.
A few people had some things to say. I'm sure
they did. But I'll tell you what, after game 3, when the Padres ripped the Dodgers, and we the Dodger fans on social media were like, season's over. You see, I told you so. Dave Roberts can't do it in the playoffs. Fire Roberts. There was this sort of defeatism among Dodger fans.
And now they've all made a U-turn in the middle of the street.
Exactly. Now, like, we told you so. Our pitching staff, I trusted them the whole time.
Don't you know why I love doing sports talk radio? Don't you know that's why I did with the way I did it?
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, thanks for the input, Roy. Next question.
Okay, let's go to Javi. Hacksaw, Padres' most dangerous team. Dodgers said, hold my beer. Tatis and Profar can jump all the way to Cancun.
Oh, just feel free to pile on. That's okay. But at the end of the day, we're in San Diego. You're in LA in the traffic jam. Now, granted, you got a great baseball team. Playoffs. What an electric atmosphere. I mean, it's just so on edge. It's just, to be in that clubhouse, and I've been down there. Just it's such a different vibe and a different feel. And I don't care that you just grinded through 162 games. You take a deep breath, and the playoffs have such a different feel in the dugout and in the clubhouse and in the press box and in the press conference. It's the same thing, not just for baseball. It's the same thing in the NFL. Same thing. I covered hockey. You walk in the room in the NHL and, first playoff game, first practice, the focus is so different. So postseason is so cool.
It really is. And this is why we're fanatics about all of this. We just love all the emotion. I mean, just speaking for myself, as a kid, it was the 75 World Series Red Sox that really opened my eyes to a lot of this. That, oh, this is different than the regular season. This is special. This is up on a platform. But for the longest time, the teams that I rooted for just never participated, or if they did, they got blown out. But it just makes you realize how this is such another level up mentally for all the people involved, the players, the managers, even the sports media.
So you're talking about the Big Red Machine versus Carlton Fisk down the left field line.
Wasn't that a great series? Fred Lynn as a rookie, I was unbelievable.
Love postseason. Thanks for the comment, Javi. Go ahead, next question.
Okay, let's go to Callan. He goes, Lee, so far through just their first 2 games, I've loved the Ducks. Have seemed to clamp down defensively, a lot of block shots and forcing opposing away from any prime scoring areas.
Little bit early to be ordering Ducks playoff tickets, is it not? I mean, let's be honest here. You won opening night, San Jose. That's San Jose rookie team. San Jose with all those draft picks and all those kids under the age of 23, you won. And then you played your second game and you got punched in the mouth by unbeaten Las Vegas. It's a long haul. At the end of the day, I like the goaltender who is here, San Diego goaltender Luca Dostal. I don't know if they have enough defense, but they're playing all their young guys. And they have such a collection of young forwards, led by the kid from, is it Boston College or Boston University? Cutter Gauthier, who came from Philadelphia. He's pretty impressive, but they're too young, and I don't know that they got enough veteran grit to go with all these young kids. But I look at the roster on paper, and I talk to hockey people all the time. I went to the Gulls practice just to watch the young kids who just got sent down. They've got a lot of really good young players, Callum, but at the end of the day, they're young. And you're asking them to play the LA Kings. You're asking Cutter Gauthier not to be intimidated when he lines up for a faceoff against Anze Kopitar, who scored a hat trick on opening night, or Kempe, or Kevin Fiala, or all the other guys. I mean, the Kings have so many veterans who score goals. So it's going to be a long hockey season. I am hopeful that we're going to wake up one day and all these young guys are going to be healthy and they will have all grown together and suddenly they're pretty good. But I don't think right yet.
It's funny how a lot of teams try these rebuilding, and they go young. And then sometimes it's a home run like the Astros. And then sometimes it's a complete flop. But like I said with the NFL segment, I love seeing the young kids like Caleb Williams having success. I'm hopeful the Ducks are going to have some success.
Working in that direction, but it takes time. Callum, thanks for joining us on the Old Canada Network. Next one.
Okay, let's go here to Emmanuel. Sorry, Lee, I can't stay to watch you backtrack on the Dodgers because Game 2 of the NLCS is on right now from Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, it's too bad that it's on at 1 and we're going to get the Yankees, Cleveland Guardians, a.k.a. Indians, in the second game. That series is going to be short and sweet in the American League. I don't know. Do you think this Mets series with the Dodgers go 5, go 7? What do you think?
Well, originally I would say it's not going to go 5 or 7 games, but check this out. We started this live stream at 1:00 and Carlos said 6-0 Mets in the second inning.
Well, anything is possible. Now the Mets might well be back in this thing, but it's only one game. One game usually does not impact the second game unless you burn your bullpen trying to save that second game. So interesting going forward. I mean, that's the Mets. Mets have that kind of lead after how poorly the Mets swung sticks in the first game on Sunday night. Wow.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, good on them.
Next one.
Let's go to Gary. He says, the 2024 Padres are the 2002 Sacramento Kings.
Does that mean the era of Chris Webber and all that failed? Got there and then all of a sudden got away from him?
Yeah, it might be. Wasn't Robert Horry on one of those Kings teams, or was he on the Lakers then?
It was on the Lakers then, I believe.
Was that Vlade era? It might be.
Yeah. So it's a good team. Now there's no, there's no Joe Musgrove going forward. Now there's no Hassan Kim going forward. Now you've got to re-sign Profar, and he's going to want $10 million.
Oh, yeah, at least.
Now you got to re-sign Jackson Merrill. He's not going to play for the second year rookie minimum. I guarantee you that. And you're going to have to configure. They have to move some money around. They have to let some players go. I mean, if indeed management is of the opinion We can't afford $231 million. Somebody's going to have to vacate because you got to pay Michael King. I mean, he's deserving of monster money. Now, I don't know if he's going to go to $20 million just like that. So tell you what, November, December, as it relates to contracts, it's going to be a bit of a different team. And the other factor is you stockpile on a lot of age. There's some guys there that are going to be a year older, and sometimes some of those guys wake up as old men and aren't the same player. Bogaerts needs a bounce back season. And by the way, you're on the hook through age 42 with him.
Mm-hmm.
Darvish has been, he's been spectacular, but he's got a lot of mileage on the odometer. So I don't know if it's going to be the same team. I think it's going to be a different team from a roster standpoint. And obviously, you're going to have to pay a whole pile of people, including Higgy and his home runs, Higashioka. So it's going to be a fascinating offseason.
Well, some of the moves are going to be rather obvious. I mean, like old man David Peralta is not coming back. Solano's not coming back. Ha-Seong Kim likely not coming back.
Okay, that's 3.
Right.
Now it's Musgrove's gone. That's 4.
Right. Then you've got Tanner Scott definitely not coming back.
Well, you could try. That's 5.
Right.
Okay. So then we're talking about a different franchise now.
Exactly. Yeah. Every year's a new year. I'm with you there, Lee. I mean, this is a very different team this year without Soto than it was with Soto. So, but are the Padres like the Sacramento Kings? Kind of, I mean, it's not really a bad analogy. It's a smaller market. It's a city with only one major sports team and a team that just seems to always struggle.
Well, like I said, and I told you this way back at the trade deadline when AJ Preller did these deals on top of the Cease and Ariza deal. And by the way, Ariza's contract, they're going to pay all the money this year. Miami paid all the money this past year.
Yeah.
That's $14 million right there.
And Ariza wants a long-term deal.
Yeah. So anyhow, as I told you, this is the year, this year and next, it has to happen. Because beyond that, you got all these guys going to be 35 to 40, and you're stuck with their contracts. And there is nothing in the farm system that's close to being ready at the major league level.
But AJ has boots on the ground. He's going to reload. Merrill's going to be a second-year player. I still think the future is bright for the Padres. It's hell of a lot better than the Chris Denorfia days, so I'm good with it. Yeah. We're going to have, we're going to have to roll Bogarts and Machado out there on wheelchairs at some point, but I'm sure one of those guys is going to become a DH.
All right, Gary, thank you for joining us. Next topic.
Okay, let's go to John. He goes, well, not the podcast we were hoping for. We were hoping we'd be discussing game 2 at Petco against the Mets instead of a postmortem. When the Padres finally do win a World Series, will someone please pour a beer on my grave?
Hear to that. It's so tough. It is so tough to grind through the season. And then when you get to postseason, you got to be hot and you got to be healthy because you're not playing the White Sox or the Marlins or the Rockies or the Pirates once we roll into the first week of October. I mean, and look at who failed. No Houston, no Atlanta. I mean, no Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look who's not at this party right now. So I love postseason.
And the Phillies.
Oh, you think? Holy cow.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. I mean, so yeah, we're still licking our wounds, at least speaking as a Padre fan. Let's keep moving here. Let's go to Roy again. He goes, Dodgers will get better in 25. Padre window to overtake the Dodgers is closed. Dodgers will address pitching and shortstop. Tanner Scott will sign with the Dodgers.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how much higher the Dodger payroll is going to go, although they did creatively finance the deferred money for Ohtani going forward. I think, the bigger issue is they're still going to face this crisis with these injuries, with these pitchers. They got so many pitchers who can't pitch in 2025 post-surgery. I mean, every one of those young arms is hurt. We don't know if Dustin May is ever going to come back from the second surgery and then the third surgery. And, they just lost Michael Grove, and he was the most promising one. I mean, the list, I went through the list this morning, said, holy cow, how many guys are they going to be absent? And you got Glasnow. They're on the hook for all this massive money with Glasnow. And he's had elbow problems in L.A., Tampa, and Pittsburgh. And he's one curveball away from probably having another surgery. So, the Dodgers are right now rolling. But that does not mean this roster is going to be bounce back next season with all these young arms coming in, because I don't see where these young arms are coming from, because all of them are out coming off surgery.
Yeah. But you know who else is Bueller and Kershaw? We don't know about their futures. There's a lot of question marks, but just like the Dodgers, they got the money, right? So they're just going to keep reloading. They're restocking their farm system. They've got a good system, So will 2025 be better than 2024? Well, right now it's hard to top what they're doing in 2024. So
And by the way, Ohtani is going to be taking the ball every seventh day on the mound at Dodger Stadium. Think about that.
now this is, I'm trying to remember historically when he came up with the Angels, Ohtani wasn't a pitcher for the first few years, was he?
No, he was.
He was?
Yeah, because he pitched in Japan. He started as a two-position player there. Now, he was spotted. He pitched once per week. And yet he still did pretty well. And then he broke down, had the elbow surgery, came back from that, pitched again, pitched well, broke down a second time. So, no, but again, he is used judiciously. He is used one time per week, different than what the Dodgers did with Yamamoto, because they put him on a major league cycle every fifth day, and he had never, ever done that. And then he had the shoulder flare up, and he was gone for 3 months. So I think you have to respect where they came from, how they learned how to pitch, and how you handle them. And that's what Andrew Friedman said when the big story broke. I did that thing. I wrote a column about it. We talked about it, about them being the epicenter for all the elbow and forearm surgeries. He said, we're going to have to reevaluate how we import and how we deal and develop these pitchers coming from all different places. Right. Good to have you on board. Thanks for joining us, Fans Forum. Next one.
Okay. Rap Album Depot. Look, people, even as a Frisco Giants fan, I know it's wrong that a DraftKings employee like Ken Rosenthal writing and reporting negatively about the Friars is a major violation. Kenneth should do what's right. And there's a follow-up here. Vegas has too much influence. Rosenthal is a DraftKings employee, and Vegas had the money on the Dodgers.
I don't know that I'd say he's an employee like that. I just didn't understand the framing and the time period for him to write that column. If you want to write the column after they get eliminated from the playoffs, and you want to nail Manny, or you want to talk about Profar's antics, by the way, dude hit 243 second half of the season, you can do that. But to do it at the height of the playoffs, when these guys are rolling and playing so well, and at that point looked like the Padres are about to eliminate the Dodgers, I just don't understand the timing of the column. I thought it was really unfair to those guys. And, he's going to have to carry that. He's going to have to own it, and that's going to be the end of that relationship between the Padres and Rosenthal, and there was no need for it. You can do it if you want to do as I said, autopsy, what's the phrase used, postmortem?
Postmortem, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to do that, then you can draw some of this other stuff out. But see, there's no signs that Tatis is a punk, and there's no signs out there that Profar, was a kid running down the hallway pulling the fire extinguisher.
That was a great visual.
There's no theory that Machado is the same type of guy that he was in Baltimore and he was at Dodger Stadium. So I thought the timing of Rosenthal's column was I thought it was way off.
When that article broke, obviously Padre fans reacted. Clearly, the Padres themselves reacted and boycotted the guy in the dugout. But since the Padres were eliminated, Dodger fan dancing like a peacock, saying Rosenthal was on target. He was right. Profar is a disaster. Tatis is disrespectful. And Machado's a thug. And I'm thinking, how you get upset that Tatis is swinging his balls around in right field, yet in game 5, when Kike Hernandez hits the home run, he comes over and gives the big pelvic thrust to his partner on the on-deck circle. So the double standards are ridiculous. Manny is a good guy. Manny is a leader. He is not the man he was 10 years ago. And I thought for Rosenthal to dredge all that up was unnecessary. He was looking to stir the pot, and that's what happened.
And now I think we can legitimately say we have a rivalry.
Oh, yeah. At least from a Padre perspective. But now Dodger fans probably thinking, we don't really care about you little Padres. We're focused on the Mets and Yankees.
Rap, thanks for joining us. Fans Forum, next one.
Okay, we'll go to Angel. I knew the Dodgers would win, but the way the Padres lost just has me speechless.
I'm speechless. I mean, it takes a lot to shut me up. 24 straight innings without a run. How is that humanly possible when you consider this was the number one hitting team in all of Major League Baseball? There's no explanation, which then bothers me because You allowed those guys, the Dodgers, back in the series by putting Dylan Cease out there when if they had done it differently, maybe they would have won in game 4 and they would have set up with 4 straight off days to reset the button with the starting rotation, go into the New York Mets series. That's the thing that's just driving me crazy. And then these guys would have hit again because they'd already hit again.
Yeah. It's just the whole thing, Angel's right. It's just the way they lost is just mind-boggling because it's the exact opposite of what they had been throughout the season. But I'll tell you what, I was getting a lot of emails and texts from my family and friends in the Bay Area, and they were disappointed in the Padres. They were hoping the Padres had knocked the Dodgers out. And here we go again, LA back on top.
Angel, thanks for being with us. Fans Forum. Next one.
Okay, this is a funny comment. This is from George. He goes, "That's what's in." You know what he's referencing?
No.
You remember those guys that were wearing the Padre gear on KUSI dancing, and they had that rap song, "That's What's In," it went from 2 years ago when we played the Phillies in the NLCS.
Okay.
You saw that
Yes,
bit?
I guess I did.
Yeah. So again, that's another San Diego sports curse thing. It just keeps coming back to haunt us.
Are you Republican? You're into so much conspiracy crap. It's unbelievable.
I am not a Republican.
Okay. No politics right now on the podcast. That'll come the week of November 5th.
Conspiracy theory stuff for me is entertaining to discuss, especially in the world of sports. Angel had another good comment here, and he says, won't be long until ESPN does a 30 on 30 on the San Diego sports curse, just like a Cleveland documentary.
Oh, yeah. The mistake on the lake and all that. Just amazing. Nick Canepa, the Page 2 columnist, the UT, who writes on Sundays, and now he started calling it Padrean, like chargering. Find a way to screw it up, you will screw it up, Padrean. That's a little harsh.
Yeah, Nick Canepa's all right. He's got a lot of old school terms. He always calls, I guess, the politicians in San Diego the ham and eggers, which is kind of cool. Thank God San Diego is America's finest city from a quality of life perspective. I mean, imagine if, we lived in a city that was just really a bummer to be here in the first place, and then the teams kept losing.
And winter's coming too.
Yeah. So at least we have something to be happy about. But it's just uncanny how this just keeps happening. And we finally get an owner in Seidler who, you got to love the guy. He spent whatever it took, and it still failed multiple times.
Just amazing. Okay, next question. I don't want to go deep down the hole.
Well, here's another one. Dave Sparks says, the San Diego sports curse is real. See? It is real. Let's keep moving, David.
Solve it, Dave.
David says, I'm glad the Padres lost the way they did. Tatis and Profar were unprofessional to taunt Dodger fans. Karma. Next year, they should play baseball instead of running their mouths early.
Well, it is interesting. It is an emotional game. But I think you do have to admit, David, those were 2 spectacular defensive plays. You don't see that hardly ever. Now, when Profar was doing the jumping jacks in the outfield, kind of egging the fans on, was that right? You're asking for trouble. When Tatis did his bump and grind and all that junk in right field after making a spectacular play, I don't know. Did he step over the line? So I guess if you believe in karma, I guess it came back to haunt them along the way. But those were 2 unbelievable plays.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the whole Profar robbing the home run was just, to me, was fun. And he didn't say anything to the fans.
No, but he was jumping up and down.
Well, yeah, but he's an entertainer. That's why we go to these sporting events. It's like the old school, like people that get upset were dancing in the end zone for the NFL touchdowns. It's just, come on, just have some fun with it. I think the Latin influence in baseball is really good for the sport.
I concur with you.
Yeah.
And if Dodger player had done that and Mookie Betts was doing backflips in right field,
yeah,
you wouldn't be upset?
Well, I'd be probably, I'm the hair up on my back, but I would be really invested in watching what I'm watching.
Okay, we move on. Fans Forum. I told you we were going to be here till Thursday. Yeah. Next one.
Okay, let's go here to Willie. And Willie says, who's paying for the fix for the Tampa Rays Stadium roof? Lee says Rays are responsible. Metrodome had same material and cost $10 million in 2010.
The number that I had read in the Tampa Tribune, I think that's where it was in excess of $50 million. I mean, they had all the panels that have to be replaced, but the buttressing, the metal top, that's all got to be replaced too, because that was damaged as the 22 of the 24 panels were ripped off in that wind. I don't know where the Rays are going to play. put no roof on it. I mean, they're going to tear that thing down anyhow in a couple of years when they build a new stadium on the other side of the bridge in St. Petersburg. But where are the Rays going to play? Outdoor baseball in St. Petersburg, Florida? Al-Lang Field is a great old historic ballpark. It's been there forever. It's been renovated multiple times. It's state of the art. They used a lot for spring training. I don't know. Maybe the Rays wind up playing outdoors. I don't know. Is Tampa going to invest $51 million to put a new roof on a stadium that's going to be torn down in a couple of years when the Rays move across? Interesting, tough set of circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, just playing with the quote roof open. That's what it's going to end up being. But the alternative is some people have said they could move and play in another stadium somewhere else. They could also be like the Harlem Globetrotters and just be always a road team. They'll find a way. But if in the summer months, it's got to be brutal, in terms of the humidity there.
Yeah, just like it's going to be in Sacramento.
Yeah, and who knows what else is messed up with the stadium? I mean, just the roof. I mean, the whole infrastructure could be broken.
Well, the infrastructure above on all the roof supports has been badly damaged in addition to all that covering something. And, here we are headed towards November 1st. I mean, spring training in March should be just around the other side of Christmas. And if you were going to repair it, how are you going to repair it in that short amount of time?
You can't. Yeah. And then if you remove those buttresses, then the structural integrity of the stadium might collapse. It's like a keystone in an arch when you pull it out.
I cut class. They taught engineering at school. I went drinking uptown that day also. Okay, a couple more here on Fans Forum before we get to social media. And I don't know that we want to do that, but go ahead.
Okay, just another quick line here from Willie. I thought this was a good comment. He goes, Sacramento has 2 major league franchises with the Sacramento A's now playing there.
That's right. They got the Kings and the A's. How about that? But I think this experience for the Athletics players is going to be miserable because it's bloody hot up there in the summer. And you're going to be playing. I mean, Pacific Coast League plays there. It's hot. It's just going to be hard. And Major League Players Association raised a real ruckus about this, but evidently there was no other place to look because they looked a lot of different places, but they didn't, they don't want to play in Vegas. It's hot outdoors. They want to play in Reno, hot. Those are both Pacific Coast League locales. So this whole thing is just a mess.
If you're building a new stadium just about anywhere in America, you would probably want to put a roof on it, either because it gets too cold or too much snow or too much rain or too much humidity or too hot.
And what's the limit on your credit card?
Well, yeah, it's a lot more, but they're turning these things into like Vegas resorts.
Sure.
With these posh, bars and luxury suites and marble tile floors. I mean, it's like going to the Venetian or something on the Vegas Strip. So, there's going to be very few cities like San Diego where an outdoor stadium will make sense.
Well, San Diego, vis-a-vis the weather, makes all the sense in the world.
Right.
But I concur with you. And again, I've been to Patriot Village in Foxborough, where once upon a time it was Gillette Stadium, and it was just an old stadium off Route 1 going towards New Hampshire. And then Robert Kraft came on board, and he's the one that creatively built the idea of business investments, entertainment centers. You go to Patriot Place now, it's not just that stadium. It's the whole entourage of venues, of shopping centers. I mean, it's really impressive. That's what professional sports has become. And it's a way in which they finance the new facilities. You build all these other business entities. Look at Petco Park. Mm-hmm. It's just not a ballpark. It's all the businesses in the gas stop. There's 5 hotels down there. Lucchino and Moores had the vision when they built the baseball stadium. How do we pay for this? Well, you do it with investments in facilities that are going to generate phenomenal tax revenue. There's 5 hotels dotting around the perimeter of Petco Park in that East Village area. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I like that. Kind of looking beyond the sport itself, finding creative ways to finance it. What's another interesting entertainment district is Frisco, Texas. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys have their training facility there, and they've got a small roof-covered workout facility, but they built a lot of bars and restaurants around there, and that's a pretty neat little place. So, yeah, that's the creative formula right there.
Even if your team got beat 49-7 at home, worst defeat since 1988.
Jerry Jones has got to be killing him.
Oh, on his birthday, much less. Okay, let's move on. We got social media, unsocial media comments. I'm sure there's a few people got some opinions that they've expressed, John.
Yeah, a few opinions. Okay, here, let's go down the list. And here we'll talk to Adam. And this is funny because there's a lot of comments on non-Padre content egging you on about the Padres. This is about the Phillies, but he jumps in and says, "Come on, Lee, why haven't you posted a post-Padre Dodger Game 5 video? Could it be that because you don't need to look foolish now by boldly proclaiming the Padres had a better roster and lineup than the Dodgers? You need to own up and eat your words."
I will. They wouldn't let me do commentaries while I was on a 14-hour trip home on the plane. Otherwise, I would have. But we will post some stuff tonight, and you will have access to respond accordingly once you see and hear what I do on, we call it verticals, on Instagram. That's where we do my much shorter one man's opinion segments. But I just spent an hour and a half explaining my theory about why they lost. So I haven't avoided it at all. I couldn't do videos while I was on a plane.
You know, it's funny, like if you look at the inside scoop of how we do all this, we do the podcast Monday, Thursday. When we wrap up the live stream, we videotape all of those shorts, those vertical videos. One man's opinion. And they're on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all the social media things. And then I sort of release them roughly daily. And I think they think that you're every day doing that.
That's right. Don't bag on me, bag on him.
But you're back in town now. And yeah, so Padre haters, Dodger fans have been just waiting for you to come to grips with reality.
On we go, on social media. Next one.
Okay, let's go here to Sergio. Talk about your Padres disaster, 24 innings without a single run.
That's hard to believe. I mean, think about the percentage of success. Say I'm going to bring 8 relievers in and everyone's going to be perfect. That never, ever happens, but it did to the Padres in that final playoff game. I mean, that bullpen day, I never thought that was humanly possible, even though they're all established major league pitchers, and they got it done.
It's still mind-boggling. I mean, 24 innings. I mean, and so, there have been times when the Padre offense has gone cold. I get that. But this team has shown, they always said, we have the grit, we have the fight, we're going to claw back. No lead is insurmountable.
And they don't strike out, which is usually your rally killer.
Yes. But yet we just got 24 goose eggs in a row, season over, go home. And you're like, what the hell happened? We were up 2-1 going into game 4, coming home to Petco, and then everything went to crap. Just like that.
I don't have an explanation, and it's on them. It's not on us.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Next one.
Let's go. Here's a Rosenthal comment. This is from Soup is Surprising. Rosenthal spitting hard truths, and Padre fans just can't handle it.
But he's spitting hard truths about something historical, not modern day. I didn't like Machado when he first came here, and I had tough situations with him in that clubhouse, and we didn't see eye to eye. And I said, screw it. You're going to act the way you act, and I'm going to comment on the way you act. But he's changed. He's evolved. Is he a complete leader? I don't know. Sometimes he still looks like he's got a little bit of punk in him. Tatis, great talent. But obviously the steroid suspension stains his rep. Still a really fine ball player. A little bit immature for me. But the guy does produce, and he stayed out of trouble since he came off the suspension. And in terms of Profar, that's just a highly excitable guy. You sign him, you're going to get some. Now, hopefully he's going to hit 280 like he did this year, not 226 when he was here the last time. That's his persona, and that's okay. So to say what goes around comes around, I think what came around was great Dodger pitching, and they kind of hit the jackpot with this bullpen day, and that's why the Padres season is effectively over, because good pitching beats good hitting.
Well, that's what happened. Yeah. And as a Padre fan, it's still just, it's incalculable how it all went down. But as far as those 3 guys are concerned in Rosenthal's article, Machado is a good dude, from my opinion. I think he's largely misunderstood. He's had his incidents of in the past. I got you there. But I think today he is a different man. I just think about when Machado came here. I remember Eric Hosmer put his arm around him and welcomed him in. And he has evolved as a man. Tatis is still young. He's still 24, and yeah, he's a little immature, but he's having fun with it, and his play on the field, generally speaking, backs it up.
Yep.
Profar, on the other hand, I don't know what the Padres are going to do, because he had been such a disappointment for so long, and then suddenly he had a great year this year, but really the last third of the season he slid off, and you got him on a 1-year, $1 million deal, probably the best value in all of MLB. But if you're AJ Preller, do you re-sign him? But Profar's your guy, and he's always wanted to have Profar here. I think he comes back on a short deal.
Short deal, but what's the price tag? You can go for, his base, I think, was 1.5, and he earned another $1 million. So it's 2.5. But you're going to give him 10 mil? That's what the agent's going to ask? Is 10 mil?
The agent should ask that. You know what'll happen is the Padres will give him 10 mil for like 4 years, 40 million, and then the whole thing will go to hell.
Okay. Thank you. Next topic.
Okay, this is our last social media comment. This is from El Guapinator, talking about Pete Rose, and he goes, absolutely not. Don't you know how horrible gambling is? It's not like professional sports have completely sold out to gambling now. It would be hypocritical to allow him in. Oh, wait.
Well, the problem is, how do you write baseball history if you're trying to ignore the man's contributions? That's the big issue. Was he a slime ball? Was he a sleazebag? Yeah, he sure was. And then the longer we've gone, the more we've found out about Pete Rose and lifestyle away from baseball. But at the end of the day, that was an enormously talented person. He had a lot of flaws off the field. Man, that stuff is coming out now. But how do you do it? As much as I dislike everything about Barry Bonds, because he cheated. There was steroid juice all over the baseball record book on his page. But at the end of the day, personality led the game. So I go back to what Bud Black told me a couple of years ago. Put him in the Hall of Fame and put an asterisk. Every time somebody sees it and your kid asks you, what's the asterisk for? You tell them Barry Bonds did steroids, or you tell them Pete Rose gambled on baseball as a manager. But if you do that, now what do you do about Shoeless Joe Jackson, 1919? That's another lifetime ago, multiple lifetimes ago. But yet those statistics were statistics. And the White Sox, did he throw the game? We don't know. He hit 356, I think, in that World Series. So he got money, but there was no theory that he actually tossed the game aside. So tough call. But MLB says no. Baseball Hall of Fame says no. And that's where we are. But their memorabilia is there. So how do you write the history without those guys being in the hall?
More hypocrisy. This is what makes baseball great, is all the history.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can talk about what they did between the lines and outside the lines and provide the context and nuance for all these different players. But the main thing is that they're flawed human beings, just like we are, but they're on a pedestal.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. But it makes you wonder, though, if there is a correlation between guys that are at the top of their game in whatever world they live in, whether they're baseball, football, or the CEO of Microsoft. If they're at the top of their game in whatever they're doing, they have flaws in other categories of their life because they're so singularly focused on the one thing that makes them good.
I concur. And again, the presentation of the person in public is probably a little bit different than who the person is in private. Not in every case. There's great people in private, but at the end of the day, there are flaws per se. But we're talking about the baseball player and his impact on the history of the game. And if he got this memorabilia in there, does not he have to be in there? This argument's going to go on for a long period of time. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this extended argument